mean, I'll tell you something else. We talk about they want to put 15 new nuclear power stations in this country, because that will solve the energy crisis, you haven't got to worry about it then. But that's £78 billion to do. For 10% of that, you could actually give every household in this country loft insulation and energy-saving light bulbs, which most scientists agree would have the effect of taking 5 power stations offline, one of which could be Drax, which produces 25% of the CO2 emissions of this country. These are the sort of things we've got to look at. We only need to build 10 new power stations then, okay? And we've done it for 10% of the cost of what was there. That's why I talk about the mix of energy, etc. But you've got to start looking outside of conventional wisdom and how we've gone forward with things, because actually, let's just step away for a moment from the environmental issues and say, forget the environment. I don't believe that global warming has anything to do with the environment, which is what some people say. Could be solar flares, could be natural patterns, could be anything else. Okay? But what is a fact is energy security. What is a fact is that we are reliant on getting our energy from Iran and Russia. Okay? And most of the energy we have to get in this country comes from the most unstable parts of the world. So therefore, if we can reduce our reliance on energy from those areas by becoming more efficient, then that brings more stability to this country as well. And that's probably a more powerful argument in terms of the vast majority of people in this country than the actual environment argument. Okay? One of the things is, what do we do with our waste? Okay? I am 100% opposed to incineration. Always have been. Have put it in my leaflets and said that I will oppose the Leeds incinerator. Why am I doing that? The reason I'm doing that is because I fundamentally disagree with burning things which could be recycled. We haven't got this endless pot of resources, you know, plastics and paper and cardboard. The energy which can be gained off composting, the energy which can be gained of taking food waste and putting it into areas which, with bacteria creating gas, which we can put in as a clean burn, without creating the toxins. You see, a lot of people will tell you that the air coming out of an incinerator is clearer than the air going in. Okay? Now, there's two arguments behind that. The first one is that, as a rule, that's correct, because they're normally placed in industrial areas which have a higher carbon content in the air, and the air going into things is filtered. So they're talking about carbon particle content. Actually, the air coming out of a car is cleaner than the air going into it. Okay, but I don't think anybody's going to go suck on the exhaust pipe thinking they're going to get fresh air. Okay, what is in the air which comes out of an incinerator has toxins in it. Now, the European Union and other scientists have laid down what they believe to be a safe level of toxins in the air. But actually, most scientists will tell you that toxins are the most deadliest particles in the world, and actually any emission of them is wrong. However, I accept the argument of diffusion and that the chances of having anything wrong. My argument is not, though, based around children being born with 3 heads and 4 legs because of dioxin in the atmosphere or the cancers being serious which can come from it. Okay? It's about the fact that we shouldn't be burning things we can recycle. But bear this in mind. When you incinerate something, you reduce its volume to 30% of its original size because you have ash. That ash is highly concentrated toxins, okay, and still has to be put into landfill sites. So actually what we're doing is concentrating the poison and concentrating it into one area. When we look at counties like Lancashire and Hampshire, we've got a lot to learn because they have huge recycling projects, masses, and they've got 8% of their waste going to landfill in those areas, and they don't incinerate. These are the things we've got to look at. So it's just this whole integration of how we move forward and stop going for, let's burn it, let's build 15 power stations, let's do this, let's do that. We've got to change our attitude, we've got to think differently. And that's a strong position I take on that.